approaches the game, the way it's a lot of people have a lot of negative things to say about this guy. But I'll say this: Raptor fans, you're gonna regret when he gets traded. You're gonna see how horrible that basketball team is. Because right now, when you talk about your position at the power forward minus Siakam, power forward position again minus Siakam, and minus the fact that Jakob right now is hurt, you are dealing with the likes of Jaden McDaniel, Chris Boucher, Jonte Porter, and Thaddeus Young. Those are your supposed, sorry, not Jaden, my apologies, Jalen McDaniels. So let me say this again. These are your options minus Jakob being hurt, and you trade away Precious Achiuwa. So these are your options at the power forward center position at the moment. Okay? So you have Jalen McDaniel, Thaddeus Young, Chris Boucher, who I love Chris Boucher, but he's a special type of player at his positions, who could block shots, by the way, and Jonte Porter. That's your options. But again, when we look at it at the end of the day, it's Pascal Siakam's fault. You know what I mean? The Raptors need to really figure out what's going on. We all know the Masai dilemma, the lack of roster moves he made, letting Fred VanVleet go in free agency this past summer in 2023 and all that extra stuff. And I felt that was ridiculous. But again, as a basketball fan, I want to see people succeed, and I want to see these players get paid. Because the billions of dollars that these owners rake in off of all sorts of channels and outlets that these guys make money from, it's insane. It's insane. So when a player gets paid, I want to see a player get paid. So, and if the Raptors do trade Pascal Siakam, I will 100% say this: I hope he gets paid. Every cent that he deserves, he receives. So, as I said, at the end of the day, Raptor fans, when you do trade Pascal Siakam, you're going to look at yourselves and say, hey, man, we're going to be in the same position as San Antonio. And, oh, by the way, San Antonio has your pick. I think it's top protected. I think 6, either 3, top 3 or top 6. So you would have to really shit the bed, to get that position. So, it's interesting how that's going to play out. But last couple of games has been tough for the Raptors, and they lost tonight 145-113 to the Utah Jazz, another team who is up and down and who's been expected to do more. But again, that's another conversation for another day. But next topic in hand. NIL deals, NILs, and college football, college basketball, the NCAA as a whole. And, you've had people come out and say how the NIL deals has ruined college basketball, has ruined college football. Transfer portal is just another addition to ruining it. But what's really the issue is what people are not focusing on. Is the fact that coaches for years and other assets to these sporting facilities, college facilities and institutions have been paid a lot of money, while the players are the ones that are putting these schools and aka institutions on the map with nothing to get. And yeah, I mean, should college people be paid? Probably not. You're going to school. But when you see coaches make $11 million annually for playing, especially in football, for coaching less than 10, 11 games, it's going to cause an uproar. And that's what's happened. Recently Nick Saban decided to hang it up. I think it was yesterday or the day before, decided to hang it up he said it was time. It was really tough. Of course it is tough now because you're competing with schools who are in certain regions that provide automatic NIL deals. back then, Nick Saban and all these other coaches that were on top of the mountain were just easily recruiting because of the name of the school, and you show them how many national championship rings you have, and hey, here you go. You might get some stuff under the table that's so that the NCAA doesn't nail you, but that's what it was. Now it's like, no, you can go to a school like Miami or FIU or even Kentucky or whatever, and they say, hey, this is what we got. And also, guess who's knocking at your door? NIL deals. This is why college is such a worldwide thing now, this NCAA topic. Because on top of that, let's look at this whole situation here. The NCAA has signed some ridiculous TV deals. Billion-dollar TV deals. You know, the problem is people are not looking at this from the reality perspective. The NCAA is a billion-dollar business that caters to only one thing, filtering money in, and that's it. That's all they care about. As long as the money is coming in, that's all that matters. Nothing else matters in the NCAA, as long as the money is filtered in. That's all they care about. They don't care about players. Players are going to be forgotten tomorrow morning, and this is why it's important for all these young NCAA players coming in or about to exit out or whatever they're doing, transferring, whatever they're doing, whatever money that you've made during your college career or your collegiate career, as they would say, find a way to financially put yourself in a position that money filters through so that for years to come, whether your career ends in collegiate or ends in the pros, you have something to fall back on. Whether it's you by yourself, your kids, or your family, you want to make sure you have that generational wealth protected and secured, because those institutions are always going to be there. The USCs, the Kentuckys, the Alabamas, Mississippis, Auburns, Michigan, Ohio State, Georgetown, Syracuse, Providence, St. John's, Oklahoma State, Oregon, Washington, Colorado. I can go on and on. They will always be fine. They got money coming in from sponsors. They got money coming in from the TV deals. And they got money coming in from all sorts of unknown outlets and sources. So players, please, who's ever listening to this podcast, whoever's going to pass on this podcast to anybody else, make sure you take care of your pocket. Because you're always forgotten. The NCAA is a numbers game. It's you and then the next guy after that. So it's important that players understand the severity of how it is to survive in college sports if you don't have an NIL deal, and also when things are over. Because the percentages for making the NBA, NCAA, WNBA, and all these other major sports organizations are very low. Even the CFL in Canada or UFL, and they don't pay you great money. Those two football leagues outside of the NFL. So you got to make sure when you get some of these NIL deals are pretty nice, I got to say. So. It's one of those things where you just got to continue to go out there and do your job. Try to win, but also take care of yourself. So, we look at things from a crazy perspective, and you see all the heartbreaking stories of mental health and players not able to hold on to this or to that, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to see the success of all the young athletes in collegiate sports or anywhere that they are practicing whatever courses that they're taking, because the world needs the youth. The world needs the youth for the future. We gotta respect the future, pass on the torch to the future, teach and guide the future. We always got negative things to say about the youth and always taking shots, and we come out and say, oh, yeah, we're telling the truth, and we really are trying to take shots at the youth. And then when the youth retaliates to you, you're mad. You're mad. So support the youth. and let them know that they can make it, they can do great things, because they are our future. And this is why the NCAA is absolutely should be ashamed of themselves for even anybody in the administrative group of the NCAA mentioning anything about the NIL deals. And then you got all these articles saying NIL have ruined college sports. No, what ruined college sports was these coaches and administrative people getting paid a lot of money while people are starving. But as soon as they take a can of peanut butter from an outside source, a bottle of peanut, whatever, they're suspended. You can go after Jim Harbaugh and all these other coaches for illegal stuff, but there's nothing more illegal than the NCAA administration. Trust me when I tell you so. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another edition of the Unscripted Podcast. This is the first episode of 2024. There is more to come. I apologize for the lack of episodes. I got to do better. I really got to do better for a lot of reasons. It's not just for the podcasters that listen to this podcast, but for everything else. You know, I got to make sure this brand is cooking and moving as great as it can be and as great as it will be. Because not everybody wants to support what you do. And I always say, go through the battle with whatever you got to battle, because you're going to win. There's victory at the other side of the door. So, ladies and gentlemen, have yourselves a good night. Once again, this is the Unscripted Podcast. Respect.